The composer looks at his first 4 notes and is satisfied. The chaotic sound of an orchestra practicing and tuning instruments. A conductor's baton taps 4 times, and the chaos becomes order, utter silence. The composer treads back and forth, nervous for the unveiling of his work. They start. The first 4 notes shake the stage. But the unpreparedness of the orchestra becomes more and more evident.
No! Stop!
He stops the orchestra, pained by any sound that was not meant to be. He scribbles out the notes and falls into a chair. He begins to drink, dazed and depressed. The assistant enters.
Mr. Beethoven, sir, with all due respect, this room reeks. Open the windows! Bring in some air. Maybe take a bath yourself. Would you like me to run you a hot one? Oh, for goodness sake.
Leave me be.
If I leave you to your own devices, I'll come home to a corpse in my studio. So no, you are going to stop drinking and take a bath this instant.
No.
Mr. Beethoven.
What?
Don't make me evict you.
Oh, go ahead. Who cares?
And where will you go if you do get kicked out of here?
Anywhere away from this travesty. All is
Oh,
lost.
please do not air your pity anymore. It smells bad enough in here as it is. I am going to run a bath for you, and I will force you into it, clothes and all, if I must.
She exits. The sound of running water is heard.
Teresa.
Yes?
The papers.
Excuse me?
Where are the morning papers? Where are they?
In the bath.
She exits and the composer follows. Loud footsteps are heard. The composer enters with the assistant right behind him.
Don't!
Unpreparedness glaringly obvious. Messy, chaotic sound. Too loud for its own good. What did you think? Honestly.
Oh, since when do you care about my opinion? Well, it started out very impactful. But it was clear that the musicians didn't practice for very long, which was the case, wasn't it? So there's no harm in the truth. If they weren't prepared, then they weren't prepared. A lesson learned for next time, yes?
And chaos?
Well, it certainly wasn't no hiding.
He throws the newspaper.
Oh, and that is why you can only write chaotic music. What goes on inside that head of yours must be complete and utter chaos.
Yes! Full of it. I am going mad with it. And what would you know of it?
Well, I listen to it every night and day as you go about your chaos above my head.
Then evict me. Chase me out like all the others.
Mr. Beethoven, you are going to get us both kicked out.
What do they know of art? Nothing.
And yet, you try so hard to please them. One favorable review has you on an ecstatic high for days, and one slightly disagreeable review will have thunderclouds around your head for weeks, completely erasing any good opinions you've heard before or after.
I write for the men who understand what I am trying to say. If they would just listen, and let them be swept away. But no, their silly minds wander to silly thoughts. Why come to the theater then?
The artist's amnesia.
What?
And I rest my case.
What?
Exhibit A.
What are you muttering about?
And here, ladies and gentlemen, we have the classic symptoms of infectious ego taking over the entire system. Observe the reddened cheeks of rage over not being heard while he himself does not listen. The crazed, bloodshot eyes. He is mad with himself. And finally, the most classic, the most textbook symptom, the cold hands, the cold flesh of the body. He is oblivious to everything, isolated not only from everyone else, but most importantly, his true self. This is not a living body animated with self-reflection, but a corpse being moved by man's disastrous ego. Tell me, Mr. Beethoven, when you listen to Haydn, where does he sweep you to?
What are you talking?
And where does Mozart take you?
What does Mozart have to do with me?
Oh, Eureka, he's almost got it.
Do not make a fool out of me.
And he relapses.
I will take that bath now.
Oh, well, Well, maybe clearing the stench will help the brain think a little better.
Not another word.
I think you mistake where the power lies in our relationship, Mr. Beethoven. I am the landlady, and you pay your monthly to me.
Women.
Men.
Their wit will be the end of us all.
He exits.
Fool. An imbecile. But a genius in his music. And it truly is his music, for no one else can write like him.
She looks at the portfolio on the desk and sees the manuscript of last night's symphony.
Can such a tragic, limitless man write any other way?
An idea. She writes on a blank letter, seals it in an envelope, and kisses it. She takes the envelope and the newspapers in her hands and is about to leave when she remembers the whiskey glass and returns for it. She quickly leaves. The composer enters, freshly washed. The doorbell is heard. He sits down and reaches for his drink when he realizes.
Teresa! Teresa!
Can't a woman have any time to herself in the morning?
My whiskey.
It's for your own good.
Oh, to hell with my
I
own...
was answering a call for you. Look, someone personally delivered a letter for you.
Who was it?
Oh, I don't know. Just a plain old lad. Go on, read it.
It is probably another request for a teacher. Oh, take it away.
Well, you could use the extra funds. And I am speaking as your landlady who is still expecting some payments by the end of the month.
Give it to me.
She gives it to him and he reads it. He becomes enamored by it.
Is it a pretty young lady wishing to learn the piano? You always like those.
Who dropped this?
Didn't mention his name. He didn't sign it on the letter?
No.
Well, he seemed a plain old boy, nothing special. Or maybe that was the errand boy. Why?
A listener.
Well, what does it say?
Mr. Beethoven, I would like to give out my sincerest congratulations on your success yesterday night. Not a success in terms of performance, but your composition. Despite the less than perfect execution, the music moved me. It swept me off my feet to a tragic world of endless longing where the sounds consumed and struck me with grief, horror, terror, and fear. If the piece does not receive international recognition, it will live on in my humble heart with the greatest honor and distinction.
Oh, a way with words this boy has.
No, the writing is a woman's, I'm sure of it.
Well, it was a boy who delivered it.
Simply an errand boy. It must be a rich countess with a sophisticated, refined taste that must have come yesterday.
Oh, a rich countess?
Yes, judging by the penmanship. And her way with words so exquisitely eloquent. No other woman but a countess, or a duchess even, could write like this. And who else can understand my music in this way?
Yes, it must be a duchess, or perhaps a foreign princess.
Yes, it's quite possible, quite.
Well, you have your recognition there. Like she said, you at least have the satisfaction of knowing that it has the highest recognition in her heart.
The greatest satisfaction.
See, all is not lost.
No, most definitely not. Do you think she wants to be my pupil?
I think she prefers to admire you from afar. Just a woman's intuition.
You think so?
Oh, yes, she definitely strikes me as a far-away admirer. You should spare her the embarrassment and respect her anonymity. And knowing your luck with women.
An anonymous admirer.
Lucky you, Mr. Beethoven. Well, I must be off. Do try to get some fresh air today, though.
Admired? Wait, my luck with women?
Ta-ta!
She exits.
The woman is mad. The greatest honor and recognition, eh?
He goes to the wall and looks at the notes. He erases the entire wall and draws a blank music staff once more.